So in this video, what we will do is we will model a single story house with SketchUp free using the WikiHouse Skylark design. So I usually don't model with SketchUp free, I usually use the desktop version, but just to keep it accessible, I decided to use SketchUp free so that everyone can really model this and practice if they want to. So what we're starting with here is something that I've shown in my first video, which is the frame of the house. So they consist of the x-axis combs, the y-axis combs, with an end floor block on each side and with floor beams in between. And what we'll do in this video is we'll start adding in walls, windows, a door, and then a flat roof as well. A gable roof is also possible, but it's a little bit more complicated, so I'll cover that in another video at another time. So for now, we're just going to use a single story flat roof house. So the first thing that you will want to consider really is how long or how deep do you want your house to be? Because with WikiHouse Skylark, the x-axis, which is the width of your house, as you can see here, has kind of been set in stone already. So when you go to the blocks on the WikiHouse website, you will see that you have S, M, and L floors which have a set internal span. So what we are using is the M floor, which has a 4.8 meters internal span. But that is only for the x-axis. For the y-axis, there's no such limitation. So for the y-axis, which is this side, you can decide yourself how long you want that to be. So really to decide that, what you can look at is in the design guide of WikiHouse, it explains that each floor beams that you use are creating a 600 millimeters internal span. So whatever you decide is going to be the length of your house is going to be in increases of 600 millimeters. So what we have done for this one is we have literally modeled the y-axis of the x-axis. That means we have used the same type of combs for the y-axis as we've done for the x-axis. We just used the y type rather than the x type. So this y-axis that you see here is also 4.8 meters, so we actually have a square house, so to say. But as I said, you can model it differently if you want to, and if you do want to do that, what I'd suggest you do is looking at the combs, and you will know for the y-axis, you'll see if you look at each of them, this side here on the left is where it slots into the x-axis, and then these, as we've shown, if we learned in the first video, this is where your floor beam comes on top. So if you know that your floor needs to have say 10 floor beams, that means that with the combs that you're going to use, you will need to create a y-axis that has 10 of these included in them. And so what you'll need to do is you need to play around with the end y, end y2 and end y3 and the middle one to create a span that has 10 of these U shapes in between, so that you can fit in the right number of floor beams. So that is how you decide on your on the depth of your house. So as I said, we have gone with a very standard 4.8 meters internal span M-sized x-axis, and we've literally used that the same for the y-axis. Now that we have that, the first thing I usually do for the walls is to put the corner posts on it. So the corner posts are over here. So these are the corner posts, and you'll see here in the entity info, corner M. Now it's important to decide what height of your house you want. So I've decided to just go with medium, but there's really, you can decide whatever you want. So, but again, the sizes are kind of fixed. So you will see with the floor, with the wall blocks from WikiHouse, the M-sized walls are 2.4 meters high. The small ones are 2.1, and the XL ones are 3 meter high. So for these purposes, I'm just going to go with the M-sized, just because we're creating a M wall. Now, these corner posts, they only fit on top of the end floor. So what you'll do here is put them on top. Now, as you can see, this side fits neatly, but this side doesn't. And that is because each of the corners have a specific angle. So you will need to turn them 95 degrees every time to put them in the right corner. Now the trick is to find the right angle to start with. Here we go. That's the wrong angle already. So this usually takes me a little bit just to get the right angle. But I'll get there. There we go. No, it's not the right angle yet. I am truly sorry. I should have started on the other side. Here we go. I'm showing you this because it's really one of the things that I ran into the first time around when I started this, and I was like, oh, it doesn't fit. Well, actually, you need to play around with it a little bit. So here we go. As you can see now, this corner post fits neatly, right? And then what we'll do is we'll copy it for each of the corners. So I'm going to copy this one to go up here, but it will need to be turned 95 degrees or it won't fit. So here we go. And I'm going to fit this on top. As you can see, this fits nicely. And I'm going to repeat that for the other two corners. Okay. Bear with me while I create this for you. I need to think about which angle I'm turning in. Here you go. And then the last one, the last corner, putting this on top here. I'm gonna just put it like this. Again, last one, turning it 95 degrees, putting that on top here. And you see I have not moved it correctly because I was being too fast. So the best thing to do, the easiest thing to do really, is to just do it again, because otherwise it's just going to be a pain to get the right angle again. And this is really why it's so important to use the access from SketchUp, really, to make sure that you always have the right angle. So here we go. That fits on nicely. So what we have now are the corners of our house. And so the next thing we'll do is fit in the other walls. So as you can see, this is a nice corner here, and then the other walls, this is the y-axis, they're longer. So what we'll do is we're going to add in a wall. This is a wall, medium sized. What we'll do is we're bringing them over here. So now, interestingly, look at this wall. You can see this is the front where these little edges are, and this is the back, and this needs to fit nicely in here. So what I'll do is model it up here, and as you can see, this is how it fits. And so each wall block has two of these fitted in, very similar to the floor beams on the y-axis, as you can tell. So I know now that, and I'm sorry, SketchUp free is freezing again. So I know that for this wall, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 spaces left. And so what I can do is I can copy this 7 times, and then I have a wall on this side. Now, if I want to do the other walls, I copy it in here, but then what I'll need to do is I need to turn it again, because as you can tell, this is the front, and so I need to make it fit on here. So what I do is I turn it 95 degrees again, and then I can move it in the right spot, and again making sure that these line up. And then what I can do is I can copy them again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Should have known that because it's modeled exactly the same. It is a square house times 7. Here we go. And we're going to do the same for these. Copying this, turning it, 95 degrees. Turning 95 degrees, putting it in. Times 7. Now, for this last one, this is the y-axis, the last y-axis that I have. I will show you why the size of the wall is so important and how to fit in the windows and the door as well. So what we'll do is, these are the M walls. I'll go back to my walls from the design kit, and I'll just show you. If I use a large one, a large wall going over here, if I would model that to go onto my model here, as you can tell, this doesn't fit. So you get an uneven wall, and that is not going to work to put your roof on, or to put to make it into a two-story house, which is why it's so important to put the right level, the right size walls into it. And that also means that when we put in our windows or our doors, that we also need to use the M-sized windows or doors. Now, the only exception is if you would want to make a sloping roof. If you want to make a sloping roof, you will need to have an L-sized wall on the one hand, so you would need to make all of this L and all of this M, and then put a sloping diagonal roof on top, but that roof is still under development. So what we'll do now is I'll show you the windows and the door. So these are the windows and these are the doors. So again, we are using the M-sized window. There you go. Going over there. Similar to the wall, as you will see, there is a front and there is a back, right? So similar to the wall as well, we'll need to make sure that they fit correctly onto our floors, and you will see that the window is much broader than your walls. So as you can see here, your window is 2 spaces, so it's 1.2 meters internal span, because it's 2 floor blocks, whereas our regular walls are only one floor block, as you can see. So that's what you need to pay attention to with your windows, is that they're much broader than your walls. Similarly, with your door, if you would put in a door, there you go, a door, not actually turning it that way, I'm telling you, don't like SketchUp free. Here we go, putting in a door, and program is stuck again. So again, this is the front and that is the back. So we're going to turn it around. Put it around. And then put it in. Similar to the window, the door is 2 spaces long. There you go. So you got your window and you got your door, and then we can copy another wall here, moving them 180 degrees this time to put them on top here, making sure it aligns. Right, making sure it aligns. Copying it one more time, or 3 more times actually, to finish our walls. So what we have here is we have a simple house with our walls all fitted in the right way on top of the floors. We have put in 1 door and 1 window on the y-axis. I'm not saying that this is a house that you would want to live in. It's just showing you how to model with WikiHouse Skylark. Now, before we can finish the roof, what we'll need to do is we need to put on combs again. So similar to the combs that we put in on the bottom, we'll need to put those in on the top. So instead of using the ground level combs like we did for ground level, we now need to use the mid-level combs, because they're higher and therefore they will fit into the top of your wall and the bottom of your roof. So I'm going to start with the y-axis because I'm going to cheat for the x-axis. So I'm going to use the y1 and the y2, and then also the mid one for your standard M size, right? So, and as we'll know, we'll need to turn these. It's a lot of turning that you need to do in Skylark to make it fit the y-axis. And again, pay attention, this is the end of your axis. This is where your x-axis will fall into, and so they need to be on the outside. Similar for this end, this one will go over here. This part, the end, is on the outside. So what I'll do now is I'll connect the combs to each other. In the right way this time. There you go. Connect them. And as we know, we need to copy that for a second row to make sure that everything fits snugly. So what I'll do is I'll quickly copy them. And again, I then need to turn them around again to make sure that they align and that these levels all fall together neatly. So you can see here, they now align, but the fault line or the breakage point does not fall with this with the same comb here, which means it's stronger and there's not one point where the combs could break. Again, I don't have a technical background, but that's the best. That is the best I can explain. So we go there, and then the final one, putting these in. There we go. Creating this at the end. And so I'm going to move this one. Moving these in place. There you go. Here we go. So what we have now is we have the y-axis for your mid-level. And what I'll do is I'm going to group them so that they don't move out of place anymore. And I can actually put them on top. Now, here it's a little bit difficult to see because the Skylark blocks, if you would actually print them or if you would actually let them be cut, it doesn't have this filling. This filling is is mirroring the isolation. So actually this is not how do I say it? It's not actually there when you print it, and you can see that with the walls. If you would go to the wall, there we go, you see here it's hollow on the inside. In SketchUp it's not, because it mirrors the insulation in it. Now the difficult part is that in SketchUp 3 I haven't figured out yet how to hide the insulation. I know I can do it in the desktop version, so apologies for being a little bit more difficult to see, but that is just something to note. Now what you can see here, what we're going to do is to put the comb in, we're going to use this point and align it here. So you will think, oh, it actually doesn't fit, but actually it does fit if you take out the insulation. So we've done that for this one, and you will see that over here it fits in nicely as well. Then we're going to copy that on this side. I'm going to do exactly the same. Again, I'm using this little point over here, this one, and I'm modeling that with here. And that is just to make sure that it all fits in nicely. So what we have here are your Y level combs, and they're mid-level as well, so they fall in the bottom or in the top here from your walls, and they will fall into the bottom of your flat roof as well. Now, of course, we still need to do the x-axis, and as I said, I'm lazy. So what I'll do is I'll use the model that I created already. So I've already created new components where the combs with the end floor blocks are combined. So what I'll do here is I've created this new component that's called medium BX, so medium for the medium size, B because it's B for the mid-level combs, and the X for the x-axis. So what I'll do is I'll just I'll copy this one and put that on top of our model, because then I don't need to fiddle around with the x-axis combs, because they are already included in this component. So all I need to do now is actually put these on top. And what I'll do for that is I need to model this with this endpoint here. Here we go. There you go. And then we get the same problem here, is that this is the wrong end. So because of the way they fall, as you can see here, this is not the correct fit, but if I move it over here, if I move it to this end, it will fit nicely. Now, as I said, I haven't yet figured out why that is exactly, but I believe it has to do just with the mirroring of your combs. So over here, as you can see now, on this side, it fits nicely. And then what I'll need to do for this side is again, you guessed it, we need to turn it 180 degrees. There you go. And then it will fit. There you go. What you can do is you could use this point and fix it on the corner here, and it will align. It will align perfectly. And then really all there's left to do is to put the roof on top. So at the moment, Skylark doesn't have the flat roof beams yet. So what you can do is you can literally use your floor beams. So what I'll do is I'll copy one of these out and I will put it on top here, right? And then make it actually sure that they fit on top. There you go. And then I'll copy it one more time times 7, and that's it. And this is how you have your one-story simple house, and this is how you model it in Skylark. Well, thank you for watching. Any questions, please leave them in the comments. As I said, I'm still learning myself, so I'd love to see your practice and learn from you too. Thank you.